Hello, welcome to Taste and Trick channel. Today I am going to show you everything you need to know about the sourdough starter. Start from what type of flour is best for the starter, how about the water, the temperature, and how to keep the starter alive if you have to be away from home for a long period. For those of you who are watching my video right now, I will be appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot in terms of emotional support. What is the perfect flour for making the starter? I have the answer. There are many types of flour in the supermarket shelf, but which one is best for your starter? From my experience, my starter grows best when I use 10 parts of strong bread flour mixed with 1 part of the wholemeal flour. Some may use the plain flour to start with or the all-purpose flour, but starter will develop or will grow very slow. Since you will make the sourdough, you will definitely have the bread flour in your pantry, so it's best to use the bread flour for making your starter. Now it's come to another ingredient of making the starter, which is the water. If you can drink your water from the tap, your water is okay to make the starter. But if you live in the country that tap water is not suitable for drinking, that is not suitable for your starter neither, you should opt for the bottled water or filtered water.
Number 3, it's better to feed small amount, but often, rather than feed in one go.
My starter feeding technique will be the no discarding as I described in my previous video. You can find the link in the comments below or at the end of this video. This starter has been doubled in volume. Actually, it decreased a little bit. Yesterday it was higher than this, but I was not at home. As long as it does not go flat or become liquid, it's still okay to start feeding it again. My feeding technique is a no discarding, so I will not discard my starter at all. I will feed my starter 2 or 3 times depending how soon I want to use my starter. It has been first feed after I make my last batch of sourdough. So this day it will be the second feed. Right now in the jar, I have 50 grams of starter. I will put in another 25 grams of water and 25 grams of flour. After mixing it, I will have totally 100 of my starter. First, put in the water and stir it vigorously. And this is the flour for feeding my starter, which I mixed 10 parts of strong bread flour with 1 part of the wholemeal flour. We will put in 25 grams. By mixing the flour together and put it aside, it will be very convenient when you want to feed your starter. I always keep this handy in my pantry. Then we mix and incorporate the flours and the previous starter together. Try to incorporate as much air as possible. I scoop down around the jar to make it a clear jar, rather clear, and we will move the elastic band up to the level of this new starter mixture. By doing this, you will know when your starter has doubled in volume and it's time for the next feeding. I will leave this starter in the room temperature for 30 minutes since I will make my bread in the next few days. So I will do the next feeding on the baking day. Another important factors of growing the starter is the temperature, which I think is the most important factor, because if it is too cold, your starter will grow at the snail's speed. If it's too hot, your starter may die. The perfect temperature for growing the starter is 25 degrees Celsius.
But I live in a cold climate.
If you live in a cold climate or you want to grow your starter in winter, the best place to grow your starter is at the top of your refrigerator as far back as possible.
But I live in a tropical country.
If you live in a tropical country, which that is where I am from, you need to turn on the air condition and adjust the temperature to 25 degrees. What if you have to be away from home for a long time, like going on a long vacation, 2 weeks or 2 months? What about your starter? Are they going to die? No. I have a solution because I travel a lot. Sometimes I was away from home as long as 2 months, and when I came back, my starter is still alive. There is a trick in order to keep our starter alive for a long period without feeding. In order to do that, we will double the portion of flour to the starter. So instead of feeding the starter at 1:1:1 ratio, I will feed it at 1:1 ratio, which means 1 portion of starter with 2 portions of flour and 1 portion of water. Let's put in the flour and 1 portion of water. After mixing at this proportion, your starter will form into a firm dough, and then we will sprinkle some flour on top of it. Try to cover the surface of the starter with the flour, then return this to the refrigerator. When you come back from your vacation, you only scoop out the top layer of the starter, pour in the water, mixing until it's become the normal starter consistency, and it will come alive again. Another question that is always came up when you want to make the sourdough is that how much starter do you need in the recipe? Some use as little as 50 grams, 70, 100, or even 150. So what is the best amount of starter that you should put in your sourdough? I think this goes as straightforward. The more starter you use, the faster your dough can ferment. So in my recipe, I always use 150 grams of starter. If you want to know about my sourdough bread recipe, I put the link in the comment. For those of you who are watching my video right now, I will be appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. It helps a lot in terms of emotional support for me to make the best content.
Let's have a great sourdough time together.